The offer that I have is that any member of, a serving member of law enforcement or the military can get a free report of mine, any one they want, current, back, any of the history ones, any of the old, more expensive ones. I give it to them for free, but the cost is they have to put Gary McKinnon in the subject line or in the body of the email, and they have to identify themselves as a serving member of law enforcement or the military. You needn't tell me your unit or any of that. If you want to put down, you're part of the Screaming Eagles or something like that, that's fine. But bear in mind, even if you don't send it from a .gov or a .mil address, you will be linked in by this software. And so there's the cost. It may come at a personal level to you. But the information for the law enforcement personnel, I've gotten a lot of guys that have purchased the report for $10 and have sent me emails saying that they were very appreciative of the heads up because they've been seeing the small hints of what I'm talking about in their daily lives. And I help put it into perspective for them.
All right, what do they do with this email? They mail it to you?
They mail it to moon@halfpasthuman.com as long as it has that Gary McKinnon, and I'm sure there will be people that will take advantage of this, but it's like, okay, guys, if you're, attempting to defraud me in the sense that you're not a member of the military or the law enforcement, still be advised you're going to be a part of this whole little memering.
Do we want non-members to do this?
No, I was just wanted to, help out the military and the law enforcement personnel that just don't have the high-level perspective that's, brought in from the upper echelon.
Okay, that's McKinnon, capital M, small c, capital K, I-N-N-O-N. Gary McKinnon.
And see, this will pollute their database. This will make the data mining balloon all out of proportion and give them erroneous results.
Well, what Cliff is talking about is keyword, and they'll pick it up. Their computers will choke a little, perhaps, we hope.
No, it won't actually choke, but it'll skew the statistics enough that it will actually cause a positive benefit for poor Gary.
Good.
And it'll come in handy later on. And actually, as a result of some of the work that I've done with law enforcement, there's some of them that are going to provide me with a one of these third-generation nightscopy things. And I'm going to go out and do an Ed Grimsley and see if I can't see some of these flying around extraterrestrial craft that in the off-planet fleet that Gary referenced, and see if I can't make those more public. The idea being that the more public we can make this, then it'll become impossible for the powers that be to claim that this is in any way a secret, or that NASA was harmed by him going into their computers. I mean, give me a break, guys. They didn't even put a password on it.
They didn't. Unbelievable. All right, Gary McKinnon. Anybody in the military active or law enforcement active? Just send Cliff an email. Just put Gary McKinnon in the subject line, McKinnon, moon@halfpasthuman.com. Moon@halfpasthuman.com. Again, you'll be picked up, but you're already on the list anyway, folks, so don't worry about it.
Actually, probably if they're listening to you.
Yeah. Well, very good. That's a nice thought, and if I were involved with the military, maybe I'm just as suspect, who knows. But do it, guys and gals. That would be great. And a lot of you are listening actually overseas, believe it or not. I mean, we got military men and women listening around the world to the program now, and certainly later in the archives. It's got a lot of reach and longevity. So.
It sure does. I mean, the last time I did a free offer was relating to Michael Tessarian's work, and we had well over 500 people pick up on it.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, as we roll into the, for many it's going to be a joyless holiday season, 25 million unemployed, 20% of America on food stamps.
Yeah.
By the way, a young couple I'm aware of in Arkansas applied for food stamps, and you know what they were given per month in food stamps? $900 a month in food stamps for a man, a woman, and an infant child. $900 a month. That's a lot.
No, that may seem a lot, but these days...
Well, I understand. Depending upon how wise you are at the market, though, you can make that go a long way.
Oh, sure. I mean, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, boy, you could live like a king. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Okay, we'll continue with Cliff in just a couple of minutes. Glad you're along tonight. What do you want to touch on next segment?
Boy, I've got a bunch of notes. Do you want to pick up on this weirdness in Norway, or...
Well, that looks like well, at least the Russians are putting the story out. Maybe they're doing it as a courtesy that it was a MIRVed ICBM that was not stable.
Yeah, but if you trace back the, that's what they're saying officially, but I've been listening to the sideband radio from Russia. And that's not
okay,
what they're
good. Hang
about.
on. We'll do that in a minute. Okay, and let's get right back to business with Cliff High, halfpasthuman.com. $10, The Shape of Things to Come, issue 3 is out now. Go get it. All right, if you look at the top of my homepage, most of you have seen the picture, perhaps there or elsewhere. Norway, a truly bizarre apparition, as it were, in the sky, difficult to describe easily, so take a look at it. The Russians came out today, I guess around 24 hours after the original photographs began to run all over the Internet, and said it was an out-of-control MIRVed ICBM test. Having looked at, hundreds, I don't know, of Vandenberg launches in Southern California, when they put them off at, excuse me, twilight or dusk, and the rocket rises, and the upper atmospheric winds push the contrail in strange ways, not quite as exacting as these, and then as it gets up into the upper ionosphere, stratosphere, and then goes into space, it's up into the sun, and it turns into, anyway, you can watch the whole thing. So I could project that on this and understand how it could be. But Cliff is telling me that he's picked up other information, and I am all ears. Please.
Yeah, there's a couple of issues there. First off, I don't believe in meaningless coincidence. So the fact that we have the Copenhagen and then the Nobel Prize stuff and this occurrence all at the same time is a big Okay, then there's the other issue. There's no element of chaos in that image in either the video or in stills or any of it. All the reports are that it was an organized, discrete event. There was no element of chaos. And so the claim that it was a dually punctured rocket that was rotating it just doesn't hold up. Excuse me.
Let me say one other thing quickly while you're clearing up there. I've watched, again, so many launches. I have never seen one even close to being that precise in its layout. That is remarkable. So that's quite a scene, and I hope all of you take a look at it. We don't know what it is for sure. The Russians may have just put out a story to do, again, some kind of a public service
they're actually
favor.
covering up their other work in that area.
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
The source of this, the island for which the thing was theoretically aimed, is actually the source of one of their woodpecker installations, their harp. And there's these three fellows, an Uzbeki, a Russian, and a German, that have this radio station, and they broadcast probably what we would think of as pirate. And I've been listening to it because I can pick up on the German and some of the Russian. And really what they're describing is that the whole rocket thing is a cover for a demonstration of a destruction of the actual ether by the HARP installation in Russia as a warning or whatever to the people that were attending to the military people that are involved in the Copenhagen.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
Explain to me destruction of the ether for our listeners.
The ether is a concept that dates back to the Greeks, but it's also called the Dirac Sea or the 0 point medium, and it basically it's the dark energy stuff that you always hear the NASA scientists blathering on about. It doesn't really exist as they think it does, but nonetheless, it is the point from which continuous creation and matter appears, if you follow hyperdimensional physics and torsion physics and all of that. Anyway, the statement from the Russian, who's a very knowledgeable scientist on there, you can tell just from listening to him, is that the whole point of this was not the spiral or the interesting little blue effect or the glowing anything. It was that black hole that seemed to open up there and expand, and it was an actual demonstration that you can send missiles at us or do anything you want, and look, we can actually destroy the place at which matter is created.
Wow.
And they created a gravitational hole there. There's reports out of Finland that there was a large dip in the gravitational wave or of their sensors that was the equivalent of 10 or 20 airplanes while this was going on. And apparently they have these sensors all over the planet that would literally pick up a large airplane flying over you and the distortion it makes in local gravity.
Huh.
And so the Russian was citing the stuff from the Finns about what was going on. They thought all their instruments were breaking, and they were unaware of what was actually occurring.
Huh.
But
Wow.
the after effect or the blowback from this was being overshot them, and it distorted local gravity.
Well,
Now,
I've never seen a rocket leave a trail like this anywhere near it. Not
yeah,
close.
with that blue light going back to the HARP installation, it's kind of like a
and
well
if you look
done,
back down to in the picture to the ground, there is obviously a white luminescence at the base of it. I don't know what that's
Correct.
about.
That would be the focal point or the lens for the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is very interesting. Very interesting. So it might have been a color.